In these uncertain economic times, you've got to do whatever you can to save money. One of our biggest expenses can be our cars, especially when unexpected repair bills hit. Not anymore. If you own a vehicle with less than 130,000 miles, is less than 12 years old, has a warranty about to expire, or even no warranty at all, you could stop paying for car repairs. Roadside assistance, towing, and rental coverage are all included. Don't wait for the next repair. Make one free call right now to see if you qualify. If your vehicle is less than 12 years old, has less than 130,000 miles, even if it's out of warranty, paying for car repairs can become a thing of the past. Call us right now and get your car protected before your next repair bill hits. Get protection and no more repair bills. Call 800-696-1030. Again, 800-696-1030. That's 800-696-1030. 800-696-1030.
Joe had huge problems with the IRS.
I knew it was coming. I hadn't filed taxes since 1990.
All the IRS letters coming in added up to a nightmare.
To get up to like $68,000, my heart started beating fast. It's like, there's no way, man. I mean, I ain't going to be able to do this.
Then they stopped his paycheck.
So that's when I started making phone calls and found U.S. Tax Shield.
U.S. Tax Shield went to work immediately.
They just took the bull by the horns. What blew my mind is he called the IRS right then and there.
So why is U.S. Tax Shield A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau? Joe knows.
They saved me a ridiculous amount of money.
If you owe more than $10,000 to the IRS or state, choose the company Joe chose, U.S. Tax Shield.
It was the best decision I made. U.S. Tax Shield is the way to go. Life is good. Thank you, Lord.
Call 800-471-3287.
U.S. Tax Shield. Boo-rah. Yes.
800-471-3287. 800-471-3287.
The Internet will never be the same. You're listening to K98Talk.com.
Whoa! Good God, y'all. What is it good for? Absolutely. Let's get started again.
You are listening live to the Vito and Vito Show. Disrespectful to the executive branch.
I would remind you that extremism in the defense of liberty is no vice.
Don't sign the damn deal, and the president won't.
Therefore, I do not believe that the majority can vote a man's life or property or freedom away from him.
And we're live here on the Vito and Vito Show. I'm Vito.
And I'm Vito.
And we want to welcome everybody here to the Vito and Vito Show, the hottest in conservative talk. We just made that up, but we are the hottest in conservative talk, self-identified. I'm Vito.
And this is Vito. That's who we are.
Man, Vito, what a debate last night. We are devoting the whole show to talking about the 2015 CNBC Republican primary debate and just how disgusting it was to watch.
Right.
All I saw, Vito, was liberators pretending to be moderators in trying to set rules for a debate in a Republican
Try
stage.
to set the rules as they go.
Yeah, exactly. They made it up on the fly, and it's embarrassing. If you're someone that was watching that debate last night, and you mean to tell me if you're a Democrat, and you say liberal biases in the media doesn't exist, you're smoking a hell of a lot of crack. You're smoking way too much weed that's legal over in Colorado. And I got no problem with it, because we're conservative libertarians out of Brooklyn, New York, and we're here to bring you the best in conservative libertarian talk radio. Vito, what did you see last night? Because I saw nonsense. I saw nothing but it made me cringe when I saw John Harwood, right?
I was gonna say.
Yeah, he was the worst one.
I don't know. Going in, I didn't really know any of the names.
Mm-hmm.
CNBC is not something I watch often, but
Okay.
I did learn John Harwood's name quickly.
Not in a good way.
No, that is not good.
Yeah, not in a good way.
He is so rude,
Oh, absolutely.
arrogant, disgusting, incompetent.
Uh-huh.
I do not like the man. I don't think the GOP candidates, especially Ted Cruz, didn't really appreciate him either.
Neither did I, and I found him to be incredibly offensive to the whole political process. The point of a debate is to sit there or stand there and talk about the issues. Talk about the policies that you're going to implement. And when you walk on a debate stage like you did last night, like you saw last night, what I saw, Vito, was Hillary Clinton's media team jump out and pretend to be moderators and try to make the Democratic Party look like the best things in sliced bread and try to ostracize and isolate the Republican Party into nothing but extreme ideas. They called Donald Trump a clown. They told him that it's not a feasible campaign.
Wait, they asked him if his campaign is just a comic book version of a campaign? Really?
It's unbelievable.
How disrespectful. Listen, you can have your legitimate questions about how he's running a campaign.
Right.
But come on, a comic book? How much more disrespectful and embarrassing do you get? I mean, you're on the national stage. You're a big-time network, one of these guys hosting the big GOP debate, and that's what you ask? That?
Yeah.
I thought the fantasy football question was bad, but this was just ridiculous.
I mean, I found it to be incredibly insulting because, what's his name? John Harwood was someone who wasn't even consistent in his answers. He wasn't, or at least consistent in his questions. He was just looking to get a point across that was unfair. He was looking to get a point across that was unfair, that only strengthened Democrats' positions. He was trying to make Republicans look like idiots, which was the most disgusting, rude, unprofessional thing you could do as a commentator, let alone a journalist, and he should be ashamed of himself. He should take after that performance last night. He should walk away from the debate stage. He should walk away from media. He should walk away from journalism for the rest of his life, because John Harwood is a disgusting POS, and it was the worst thing to watch last night was that guy up on the stage. That's how bad I was so angry at watching this guy talk.
It was terrible, and they didn't let guys talk like Ted Cruz. They kept cutting people off, except for the Golden Goose, Jeb Bush. Mm-hmm. They gave Jeb Bush easy questions, like remember when they asked him about the fantasy football, and they joke about Gronkowski's doing great. I'm 7-0.
Right.
Asked him such easy questions, and Chris Christie had to finally jump in and say, "Is this a legitimate question? Asking for should regulate fantasy football? Mm-hmm. This is what you're asking?"
Right.
Listen, they had a few tough questions. All right, they dug deep. They went after Carly Fiona's record and what other people are saying. But then, other times, they were just completely unprofessional, right. And they even tried pinning certain candidates against each other, which they called out. They called out all these things they saw, and Ted Cruz was the first one to do that, which is one of the reasons why he did so good in the debate. He was one of the first ones, and all the other candidates followed in suit, going after the liberal mainstream media.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's the main thing, is the liberal mainstream media was an absolute disaster last night. What I saw was the openness of the liberal media. What I saw last night was a bunch of people coming out on that stage pretending that they knew what they were talking about in the moderators and completely messing up when it came down to displaying just how professional they are. You had questions about clown cars. You talk about Marco Rubio's foreclosure. You're bringing up Chris Christie's or Jeb Bush, his fantasy football question. I mean, you're just trying to ridicule this stuff. You're just trying to make these candidates look like idiots. And you know what, Vito? You know what bothered me the most? When you turn on the CNN debate with the Democrats, Bernie Sanders, whose ideas are detrimental to the country, with proven evidence throughout the course of history that socialism fails. Mm-hmm.
They don't go after Bernie Sanders.
Exactly.
They don't go after Hillary Clinton. And they try helping them out during the GOP debate with these kind of questions. But Priebus had the RNC came out and said, "Oh, this is terrible. This should never happen." But he signed off on this. Mm-hmm. He was ahead of this, and he apologized. He said that CNBC should be ashamed of themselves. But talking about the head of the RNC, the DNC, Debbie Weissman Schultz was tweeting, going after the Republicans, saying, "Oh, all they do is go after the liberal media, and people love it. That's all their excuses. Oh, the liberal media, the bias." But how obvious was the bias in last night's debate? It was unprofessional, incompetent, and liberally biased. You can ask questions and have a debate, or you can do what CNBC did and completely drop the ball. So when you see these things happen, this is why Americans do not trust the mainstream media. This is why people are turned off by politics and the media. You can't trust what people say. Listen, MSNBC and the rest of them have completely terrible ratings, and this is only going to add to it.
Exactly. That is exactly the case. It's going to add to the distrust that Americans have with the media. That's the issue here at hand. Americans are going to see just how embarrassing it is to have liberal commentators pretend they're moderators and actually format and structure a debate that's going to get down to policy issues. Vito, I want to get into the debates. I want to get into the specific candidates. And I want to first start off with the first candidate that I want to talk about, which is Jeb Bush. It's over, Vito. He's done. He's finished. Fanata, he's done. It's over.
Jeb?
He's done. Jeb is finished. Take that exclamation point and shove it up you know what. It's over. Jeb Bush is finished. And the establishment is crying after that performance last night.
Well, Jeb Bush, I know it's more programmed, my iPhone, or Jeb Bush or Hillary Clinton's
Siri comes across as a more charismatic thing than Jeb Bush.
Listen, the best point he had was, I was talking about the fantasy football. Everybody loves, it's like, I'm 7-0, I've gone Gronkowski's doing great. Oh, he's so funny, Jeb, he's so funny.
But then you ask Jeb Bush about should the federal government regulate fantasy football, and this schmuck is running around saying, yeah, the federal government should look into it. No constitutional power to do so, to regulate fantasy football. You're a Republican that claims that you want deregulation, but you want to regulate fantasy football, things that guys on the weekend hang out and do. You want to regulate their behavior? Are you kidding me? Is that not disgusting, Vito? That just goes to show me how out of touch Jeb Bush is with the average beer-drinking American who hangs out on the corner and loves his country. It is. It's the truth.
That's how you describe the average American. But Chris Christie jumped in and said, this is ridiculous, talking about fantasy football. And it's not even the question. Even more ridiculous is, do you think we should regulate it? Really? Asking the Republican candidates. Mm-hmm. Republican. Mm-hmm. And any Republican who says that they should is not a Republican.
Exactly.
Hence, Jeb. Old Jebby. And we have to look up the words that you can say on air because you won't say ass, but you're going to keep saying schmuck.
Hey, what's wrong with schmuck?
Well, what's wrong with ass?
I don't know. We're going to go to the George Carlin clip in just a little bit. We'll do some research. But
we're going to do this.
I think the point is specific here. When you take a look at this debate and you look at how Jeb Bush performed, he was an absolute disaster. He was, Vito. He was an absolute disaster. And the establishment is crying in the corner right now saying, what happened to our golden boy? Isn't it a shame that Jeb Bush couldn't hold up to the scrutiny of the big stage? His brother could, his father could, but he can't? Now the question is, where is all that establishment money going? We all know that Jeb Bush, by the way, according to certain reports all over the news, according to a couple of weeks ago and more recently, this is also coming out, that Jeb Bush is cutting his campaign staff salaries across the board. So he's having money issues. Here's a guy that raised $100 million in Super PAC funds and raised a lot of money, just his name alone, on the campaign trail. And he is hurting financially.
Where's that money going?
That's a good question. Another good question is, why is Ted Cruz, this outside extreme candidate that the media likes to portray him as, why is he raising more money than Jeb Bush? Why is he able to better conserve his money than Jeb Bush? And why is he more appealing to conservatives than Jeb Bush? Do we see how powerful the grassroots really are?
And you see the media protecting Jeb Bush,
yes,
helping the establishment, and continue to go after the extremists like Ted Cruz, Donald Trump, Ben Carson, all the outsiders who are doing well or fairly well in the polls. So when you have establishment guys like Christie and Jeb Bush aren't doing well with the media's help, and the media keeps attacking guys like Cruz and Trump, they're doing well, they can't be touched by the media. And then, of course, Marco Rubio, who can't really be touched by anything, because what are you going to say about the guy?
Yeah, that's what I want to talk about next is Marco Rubio, because that's where as much as conservatives want to fall in love with Marco Rubio, I think it's he's going to become the new establishment candidate. Jeb Bush is going down the tubes. Marco Rubio is rising in the polls. He's going to take over Jeb's spot. He's going to be the Scott Walker type candidate that can connect the Tea Party and the conservative and the establishment movements.
And you think he'll go full establishment and wind up screwing over the Tea Party?
I think so. He's done it in the past. His position on immigration, he's flip-flopped on this issue. He was a principal author of the Gang of Eight bill, and now he's going to just abandon it because he's running for president? Listen, Marco Rubio has a lot of credibility issues.
Well, I know the immigration issue has been a big thing with conservatives, but
it's the only thing with conservatives. Look at Donald Trump. The guy didn't rise to number one in the polls because he just said, I have nice hair. Or he calls out Megyn Kelly. He rose to the top because he's a successful businessman. He speaks his mind, and he speaks a different position on immigration that your average politician is not going to talk because they're afraid. So now here's somebody like Marco Rubio, who's the complete opposite, and now is trying to appeal to conservatives. I don't think it's going to pass. Conservatives are not stupid. They're gonna see right past this. They're going to see right past this nonsense. And they're going to see that Marco Rubio is not the guy for them.
Well, to his defense.
Oh, here we go.
What?
It's about time we start fighting with each other.
Oh, I can't stand you.
This is the...
Marco Rubio is, according to the Heritage Foundation, his conservative ranking in the Senate is at 93%.
Okay.
Which is fairly close to the 100% for Ted Cruz. But the only thing else that people really attacked him on, aside from like a couple parking tickets, remember when the media went after him for that?
Right.
Was that he has one of the worst voting records, his attendance record in the Senate.
Okay.
Jeb Bush took a shot at that.
I don't care. And I'm going to defend that point in just a second. Because also Ted Cruz is also in that boat. And as much as... Yeah.
And I looked at a chart that Barack Obama more than tripled them while he was in the Senate.
Oh, there you go. And he became president. But I'll get to that.
If he can do it.
I'm going to get to that point in just a second, but go right ahead about the whole the Marco Rubio thing. So how is he appealing to conservatives? What makes him appealing?
Well, his voting record is pretty conservative.
I don't know. I mean, that issue on immigration is a hot button issue. If you're not on the conservative bandwagon, it's not going to be so well.
Right, but that's one issue. One. Now, listen, I know there's better candidates. I personally like Rand Paul, Ted Cruz. Donald Trump's even doing well with the immigration, as you were saying before. Mm-hmm. But one issue, the guy, listen, he might not be the most conservative, but he's definitely no Jeb Bush. I don't think he's that too bad. You know? And what else he said on immigration? I don't think it's full amnesty. Okay, the Gang of Eight bill, we don't support it, but as president, is he gonna support amnesty and not enforce the laws and maybe even close the border?
I don't know. We're talking about Marco Rubio here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, what's his position now on immigration? And the thing about Marco Rubio and the rest of those candidates that don't want to really take a stark position on immigration, is that they're afraid of the political consequences. As a result, they're not going to touch the issue. The border's going to remain open. No one's going to say anything. Illegal immigrants are going to continue to stay in this country, and nothing's going to change. Donald Trump is different. He's going to come out and speak his mind. It's going to be a different type of politician. But Marco Rubio and Barack Obama's another one. They'll say one thing. They won't be as committed with it. They won't be as specific on their policy details. And they'll just say rhetoric and they'll hope you'll follow. And then you're going to forget about it a couple of weeks down the line. It's not right. Donald Trump is one of the only candidates out there, with Ted Cruz, I believe, who's actively willing and probably politically able to get away with the building of a wall and the deportation of illegal immigrants. Whether you support the position or not. But I think Marco Rubio has a lot to prove. He's going to be the establishment front runner. Jeb's going to drop out.
He's also young.
He's young. He's very young. And I saw you getting, all hot and sweaty for him last night when you were watching Marco Rubio speak.
That's because I was standing next to you.
You're a sick person. Let's go ahead and move on. I want to talk about Reince Priebus for a second. I want to go ahead and talk about this fool. Because he really should resign.
Be nice.
No, he should. He should resign. The entire GOP establishment leadership should resign. All of them, including the new Speaker of the House, Paul Ryan. We'll get to that towards the end of the program.
Yeah, congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations.
And did you
that guy gave all of his interns a copy of Atlas Shrugged to read. The political manifesto if you love politics. If you're a conservative, libertarian, whatever. That's the book I think you have to read with Barry Goldwater's Conscience of a Conservative. But here's a guy, Paul Ryan, who once professed that he was really deeply inspired by the ideas of Ayn Rand. We're finally going to see this objectivist sort of thing coming into play. We're going to see an Ayn Rand influence in government, something we've never seen before with Paul Ryan. And he pisses it all away for his own political gain. Isn't it disgusting to see Paul Ryan now as Speaker of the House, shaking hands with John Boehner while they wore the same damn tie? Yeah, I noticed these things.
Sick. So you see Marco Rubio basically becoming the next Paul Ryan. Starting off conservative, old principle, and winding up with the establishment. Right?
Right.
Right.
I see Paul Ryan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You see Marco Rubio like Paul Ryan.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sorry. That's as of now. Maybe he could change my mind, but as of right now, yeah, that's what I see in Marco Rubio. I'm not impressed. I would have been more impressed with Rubio if he would have said, yeah, this is my position on immigration, take it or leave it.
Right.
I would have said, okay, and now let's see the rest of your voting records.
Right.
But your credibility is such an important issue in a leader. You have no credibility. There's no way I could have you as a leader. Credibility and leadership go together.
I'm not sold on him yet, but he's pretty popular, especially with the young people. Many times, on the campaign trail, different forums and conferences, he is very likable. He's very charismatic, down to earth, and a lot of people do like him how he comes off. Okay, so listen, if he gets through the primary, I think he has a good shot at the presidency. I think most conservatives do against either Hillary or that socialist guy, Bernie Sanders. But you want to talk about Priebus, because Debbie Wasserman Schultz, the two heads, they were going back and forth. Because everyone likes to live tweet and talk and debate themselves during both debates.
Right.
But you have some thoughts on Priebus? He should resign?
Yeah, he's finished. Reince Priebus is disgusting. You should leave, pal. Your job was to sit there and make this debate important for Americans. Your job was to sit there and make this debate appealing, informative, educational for Republican voters who are undecided as to who they want.
You don't have to yell at me.
Hold on, Vito. I'm not done. You should sit there and you should make sure that the criteria is stringent. You should make sure the criteria is tough. Why are we letting CNBC dictate the rules to our debates? Why aren't we setting the rules for the debates? We're using flashing lights to indicate when candidates are done speaking. We have John Kasich in the corner screaming like a little baby trying to get attention for himself. It's not fair. I want to see a Republican Party who is committed to its principles, who's going to sit there and who's going to say, yeah, here's the deal, CNBC, here's the deal, CNN, here's the deal, Fox News. This is what we want to showcase from our candidates. This is the criteria we want to file. Reince Priebus should go home. He's been a horrible, absolutely horrible leader of the RNC. And it's an absolute shame that this is what's happening to our party. Because, by the way, Reince Priebus is also afraid of Donald Trump and the conservative movement. He thinks we're extreme. He thinks we're going to threaten all their chances towards winning elections, and which has been proven false time and time again when you give those people the line.
I think CNBC helped the Republican, all the candidates.
I think so. It shows It shows. CNBC showed America why they shouldn't trust the mainstream media.
And this is what the Republicans played off of and proved their point even more. I think you're going to see poll numbers increase, I think, for all the candidates, except for John Kasich, because that guy's ridiculous.
John Kasich, I want to talk about him for a second. He's another one that's trying to get the establishment money. And I think that he did absolutely terrible. I think he was incoherent. I thought he was stumbling on himself. If you watch the videos again of John Kasich, you'll see him bouncing around in the corner. He was jumping up and down and hopping a little bit. He was pointing his finger. He was blaming Donald Trump. He was blaming this person. And then today he comes out and defends the CNBC moderators and said they did a good job. What the heck?
Because they gave him the most time to talk.
Well, yeah, he gave himself the most time. He was just jumping around. Yelling. And the CNBC moderators were looking towards the more establishment candidates and tried to give them leverage. They tried to take time and energy away from Trump and Carson, gave it to Jeb, gave it to Marco, gave it to Kasich. They even gave some to Christie. But they left out Rand Paul, who only got maybe 3 or 4 questions. They left Ted Cruz out to dry until he came out with a bang-up line that I think maybe won him the whole debate. And they let Carly Fiorina, in a way, hang out to dry until she had to come out with some pretty strong points.
Right, but you see how Carson passed Trump in many polls.
Yeah.
But Trump
is beginning to, at least.
He's beginning to. So these are the 2 top frontrunners by far. And they get the least time. They barely get any questions. I completely forgot about Carson at many points. At the end, completely forgot about Cruz, Fiorina, and Rand Paul.
Yeah, I mean, that's a shame.
Completely forgot.
That is a shame. I mean, when you talk about people on the debate stage, you have to be consistent. You got to give people a reason to listen. You got to give people a reason to follow through on what they're talking about. You got to give people coherent ideas that they could finally judge these candidates. Didn't see it last night, Vito.
Don't forget about Huckabee.
Well, I forgot him too.
I feel so bad for the guy. He's just so... He's funny.
How so?
He's a comedian. He should drop out and become a comedian.
Yeah, calm down. Easy. You
don't think he's funny?
I don't think so.
He's pretty funny.
I think the joke of the night was when Ted Cruz said, you want to have some of those famous Colorado brownies.
But Huckabee, he tweeted out during, I think, either the Benghazi or the first Democrat debate when he said, I wouldn't trust Hillary Clinton like I wouldn't trust a North Korean chef with my dog. as you're running for president of the United States.
Who said that?
Huckabee.
Oh, man.
He's funny. He got some zingers. He got some jokes. You gotta see him live tweet stuff. Oh, he's great.
You know who's the best live tweeter? Donald Trump. He's the absolute best live tweeter.
He's like, I think I won this. Like, guys, Democratic debate. I was like, I won this. I'm not even in it.
I want to talk about for a second about that Democratic debate because I want to get back to the issue about Bernie Sanders and being a socialist and this nonsense.
The media doesn't touch him.
The media don't touch him. They leave him alone. The guy is going to spend, his plans are projected to spend over $18 trillion. He thinks you're going to fund it all by taxing the rich, whoever the rich are. He blames the 1%, the top 10%, the top 100%. He's going to blame, he's going to tax everyone and their mother, I'm telling you. And when you take a look at the issues of Bernie Sanders' campaign, and what he's promising to the American people, Medicare for all, free college, paid sick leave, etc., you finally begin to see the flaws in his argument. How are you going to pay for all this? Taxing the rich and taxing speculation on Wall Street is not going to pay $18 trillion in revenue. So how do you intend to bring in all this money? Obviously, the media won't ask him that tough question. They're going to let him go. They're going to let him go on a talking point. They're going to let him say how great socialism is. He's going to try to describe democratic socialism. They're going to ask if any of the Democratic candidates are capitalist, and 3 out of 4 of them are going to deny that they are even capitalists to begin with. And Hillary Clinton, who doesn't claim to be a socialist, even though she is in the closet, she'll come out and say she's a crony capitalist. But she won't say crony capitalism, of course. But the ideas will lead toward that path. So, I mean, I find it so funny and so ironic that you have people on the Democratic debate stage that the media won't touch because they're afraid. They're afraid to touch them. And it's not because, they're going to lose credibility in the media departments, or they're going to lose face with the American people. They have a liberal bias. Pew Research poll back a couple of years ago stated, Pew Research, no political affiliation, Pew's probably one of the most reliable research companies out there, said that over 90% of reporters in the media are liberal.
Wow.
Isn't it? Let's think about it for a second. Think of all your mainstream medias. CBS, NBC, Washington Post, the LA Times, Politico,
Slate,
Saloon.
Oh, God.
I know. ABC, CNN,
The Times,
the New York Times. I mean, the list is endless.
Breitbart.
Yeah, relax. Breitbart.
There's one conservative.
Breitbart is a shining beacon of hope in all this nonsense.
One. That's
before that, you have nothing but liberal media is at the top. You have the newspapers being dominated by liberals. You have TV being dominated by liberals. And now what you have is a conservative resurgence in the grassroots area that finally begins to hold candidates accountable. It's about time, man. It's about time. And I'm happy to see that. I'm happy to see new media take hold and fight back against the liberal establishment, especially the CNBC commentators.
Do you consider yourself part of the new media?
Absolutely. I think so.
So I'm really happy the new media is starting to shine. But yeah, absolutely. You hit the nail on the head. So let's just end the show
When do I
here.
not, Vito?
Yeah, funny.
Let's end the show here.
We're done.
What do you think? Do you think there's something about the CNBC moderators that, to their defense, let's play devil's advocate here.
You want me to?
Before we go to break, I just want to get this point out there. Do you think that the CNBC moderators were just asking tough questions? That these are just questions that your average voter is going to ask Marco Rubio about foreclosure, or the average voter is going to ask Donald Trump about his bankruptcies? Don't you think these are average tough questions that the American people want to know?
I don't think average. But I do think, aside from the buffoonery that we saw from the moderators, they did ask some pretty good, tough questions. Especially like Donald Trump with the Atlantic City. Everything. How, your business went bankrupt. How can we trust you with our money? And I think he made a great point and, really shot that down like he keeps doing by bringing up how Atlantic City is just doing bad in general. And he used the bankruptcy chapter laws to his benefit. And he has hundreds of businesses and made billions of dollars. And that's just one thing in Atlantic City that, you just can't help certain things. And I think he handled that great. We'll get into the grading after the commercial break. But, I think Trump did well. We saw Cruz, Rubio, even Chris Christie jump in there. And you see what really appeals to many people is the anti-Trump aside from anti-establishment, the anti-media, and really hitting home on those things. That's what most of the debate was.
Well, yeah, I mean, most of the debate is about talking about how the the outsider is going to take over the Washington machine, the Washington cartel. And I think that's your key ticket to 2016. It's one of the reasons why I think that Bernie Sanders is going to get the nomination for the Democrats, because Democrats are tired of the establishment. It's one of the reasons why I think maybe a Cruz, a Trump, a Carson, an outsider is going to get the nomination on the Republican side. I do not see moderate establishment candidates getting the nomination. I might see moderate establishment candidates pretending to be conservatives to get the nomination, but I think at the end of the day, conservatives are smart and wise and strong and intelligent enough to see right through the facade and vote principles, because that's the point that we're trying to vote for here, is a principled candidate who's going to actually implement what they want to do. That's what I could see coming. When we return here to the Vito and Vito show, we're going to talk about Ted Cruz. I want to talk about this guy. I think he won the debate hands down. We're going to talk about Rand Paul. We're going to talk a little bit about Chris Christie, a little bit about John Kasich, Carly Fiorina, Mike Huckabee, and don't forget about our Moments of the Week and Twitter fan right here on the Vito and Vito.
So what is behind enemy lines anyway?
This is the true story of two friends living in the People's Republic of New York City who work together and have their conversations taped to find out what happens when conservatives stop being politically correct and start getting real. We are Behind Enemy Lines. Watch your wallets. Thursdays at 1 on WNJC, part of the Conservative Commandos Radio Network.
Who might you save?
Your mother, your father, your husband, uncle, aunt, son.
Learn FAST, F-A-S-T, the sudden signs of a stroke, and you could save
your friend, teacher, boss.
F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911. F-A-S-T. That's F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911. The sooner they get to the hospital, the sooner they'll get treatment. And that can make a remarkable difference in the recovery of
your neighbor, the waiter, grandmother, grandfather.
So learn FAST, the sudden signs of a stroke, then pass it on, because you never know who might save you.
Your wife, your colleague.
Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
Fighting the Common Core standards? Need a powerful tool to help inform others on this harmful education initiative? You're covered with Common Ground on Common Core, the collection of essays by 20 top education experts and activists. Reviewers call it the best single resource on the topic. You can share it with literally anyone. Order your print or digital copy of Common Ground on Common Core today. Just visit resoundingbooks.org. That's resoundingbooks.org. And get $2 off when you tell them Vito and Vito sent you. Paid for by Resounding Books Pack.
And we're back here on the Vito and Vito Show. Make sure you follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Vito and Vito Show. I'm sure we have a Pinterest and a MySpace out there, so follow us there at Vito and Vito Show. And, of course, our website, vitoandvito.com.
That's right. That's
Vito?
right. Yes, Vito.
You wanna play teacher?
No, I don't want to do anything with you.
Great. Well, we're going to have to do it now. We have to grade these candidates. Who you liked, who you failed, who was ugly, who spoke too much.
All right, cool. We'll start off the first list. Go ahead.
You ready?
Ready when you are.
The Donald.
I give Donald Trump a B. I don't think they gave him enough time, but I think he was strong. I give him a B+, not a B. B+. I think he was strong enough. He was quick. He was funny. He was charismatic. He was Donald Trump, but he wasn't as much as Donald Trump that we would think he'd be. He was sort of reserved a little bit. He wasn't as bombacious towards the end of the debate like he normally is, but I give him a B+.
He didn't make all those facial expressions.
No, he didn't.
His hands.
No. Because they didn't give him enough time. The media is trying to silence Trump. Notice that. The media is going to silence Trump. You heard it here first. The media is going to silence Trump. They don't want that man getting the nomination. They want conservatives to fail. They're going to try to silence this man. Next.
Well, I'll give my grade. I'll give Donald an A+. I think he did good. Even though he didn't get as much time as he probably hoped, because he said he'll stay up there all night and all day talking. I think he did pretty well. He answered the questions. And when they dove into economics, everything, I think he handled himself fine.
All right. Who's next?
Ted Cruz.
I give Ted Cruz A+. He won the whole thing. After his media comment, he was the first one to talk about how ridiculous the CNBC moderators were. He was the first one to talk about mainstream media bias. He was the first one to talk about putting the gold standard back in terms of money. He supported the idea of auditing the Fed. He supported the idea of free markets to an extent that I think he's the most credible candidate up on that stage. Ted Cruz wins the debate, hands down, no argument. Ted Cruz 2016.
I do agree. The only thing with Ted Cruz is it felt a little awkward in the very beginning. You saw he was choking as he was.
I thought he was gonna die on stage. I was like, no,
he was choking,
come on.
When he first said, "I'm not the guy you usually have a beer with, but I will drive you home." Like, Ted, this is that. Don't do that.
I don't think
Ted.
Well, at least we have.
Then he was talking about having tequila shots.
Good,
that's all right.
Good, because that means we get a designated driver in Ted Cruz. We can get blasted. We can look at all the strippers, hookers, and coke we want, Vito, and Ted Cruz can drive us home. So I could live the the Mick Jagger rock and roll lifestyle, and Ted Cruz could be Chauncey and drive me around. I love it. High five.
All right, we'll go with it.
All right.
Hashtag shots for Cruz. We'll take one for him. We'll take his. Next is Marco Rubio and his foreclosing house.
Marco. I give Marco an A. I'll give him an A. I think he did well. I think he came across very presidential. This is regardless of policy, what I think of him. In terms of debate performance, I'll give him an A. I thought he did very well. He was coherent.
I'll give him an A-.
Oh, look at you.
Yep, I'm being generous. I don't think he did that bad. You know, he came across.
I don't think he did that. What's up, Doc?
Listen, guy. You tried doing live radio.
I do live radio. Go ahead.
I think Rubio did just fine. The questions were a little ridiculous, and he called that out. But we were on TV earlier today in Brooklyn, and we're talking about this on Brooklyn Independent Media. And we were discussing
cheap plug.
What? I'm saying what I did today. That's what I did. What do you want me to say?
I never asked what you did today.
Unbelievable. This is my show. Let's just skip over. Let's go to Ben Carson. Happy, What do you give Dr. Ben Carson?
I'm gonna give Doc. I'll give him a B. I don't think he can. I think they got him on the tax question. I thought the beginning questions against Ben Carson were pretty tough, and I don't think he gave such a strong answer. I think, and then they gave him that question about the pharmaceutical company affiliation, the sort of endorsement company or deal that he made with some faulty and fraudulent pharmaceutical company. He said he wasn't a part of it. He said it was at his knowledge, and I think a PolitiFact article came out today that said, in fact, yeah, Ben Carson is he's lying about this issue. He did sign up to be an endorsement figure for this company. My new point, but the issue is, come on, Ben, tell the truth. Credibility.
Minor point, tell the truth.
Minor point. Great. Just putting that out there. I give him a B.
I give him a B+. All
right.
Not knowing they lied.
It's because he's black. Go ahead.
Right. And there goes the show. They called him out for about gay marriage, and he said, listen, it doesn't make you homophobic. I think that's his big line there, aside from the pharmaceutical. But he didn't get enough time. I definitely don't think so. He's the number one leading in the country with many polls. Him and Trump going back and forth. And the poll numbers. He didn't get enough time nearly as much as he should have,
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think about the Chris Christie guy?
I'm going to give Christie a B+. I thought he did very well. Came across... That's the Chris Christie we wanted to see back in 2010. Remember the Chris Christie we saw back in 2010 who was like, wow, this guy should be president. He's great. He's on the stump. He's pointing at people. He's yelling at people. He's telling people where they should go. That's the Christie I want for president. That's the conservative Christie. That's how we came across last night. It came across in that old New Jersey attitude.
Great.
It appealed, but again, he has a lot of
votes.
He has a lot of interesting policy positions that we need to look further into.
Right. Despite how much I do not like the man, I'm giving him an A.
Really?
I think he did do very well. Jumped in there with the fancy football. When he says, "I'm talking to the average American at home," he looks right into the camera. It's what worked in New Jersey for him. Yeah, I'm like why he was so popular, like you're saying, back a couple years ago when the conservatives did want him for president. But his time has passed. I think he did pretty well. That's that.
You're right there, Vito.
I'm fine.
You're fine.
Call it Fiorina, Vito.
I think you did well. To me, that just sounded like a Christie endorsement from Vito DiGiovanni. That's what I heard.
Really? I just said I can't stand the guy.
I heard a Christie. I think it's all over for you, Vito. You might as well move over to MSNBC and co-host a show with Al Sharpton.
Unbelievable. Wow. I'm going to remember that, Vito.
All right.
You shouldn't even have a show.
Oh, come
Nowhere.
on. Okay.
Okay? Chloe Fiorina, what do you think? How would you grade her?
I would give Carly Fiorina. I'm going to give her a B plus, A minus. This is why. When A minus. When Carly Fiorina came out and said that she was against crony capitalism, she was against all that nonsense, she was against the Export-Import Bank, she was against the special favors that big government gives to big corporations. I gotta say, Carly Fiorina, good for you, girl. Good for you. Even though you have a horrific record when it comes down to supporting... Vito, you just threw my phone. That's so unnecessary. This is destruction. I can't work under this pressure.
CNBC was bad?
Yeah, you should come down here.
I just threw your phone against the wall.
Oh my.
You were saying?
Yeah, I forgot. You threw my phone against the wall.
I'll give Chloe Fiorina a B minus.
I gotta give Carly, why a B minus? She did so well when it came down to business questions.
Now, a lot of her stuff was very repetitive. You know, she didn't have that spark, that spunk that she did the last debate when her poll numbers rose. And, you know, if you hear her speak, she says a lot of things the same. Just like Mark Rubin.
She keeps talking like this. And this is what she's going to do. And this is like, what are you doing? Like, speak in sentences. You just like, stop. Imagine her driving a car. 1, 2, 1, 2.
Is that a woman joke? Women can't drive?
No, they can't. That's like getting whiplash.
Sick.
Today we are hitting all of the racist, sexist points. Who else do we have?
How much time is left in the show?
I don't know. It's ticking, baby.
Rand Paul.
Dr. Rand Paul, the ophthalmologist. I got to give Rand Paul for the 2 or 3 questions the gentleman got, I'll give him an A because I thought they were good questions. And they were great answers. He talked about his tax plan, which I fully support. They talked about his stance on the Fed, which I fully support. I love Rand Paul. I love Ted Cruz more, but Rand's my close second. I got no problem with him. I'll give him an A, but give the man more time. John Kasich spoke nonsense in the 2-hour debate. Give Rand time. Let the man speak. He's got great ideas, and he should be able to resonate if you give him the platform.
I'll give him a B plus. I don't think he had enough time. I think he answered the questions just fine, especially
really
the Federal Reserve. I know, but they did nothing to really stand out.
What did you want him to do? Take his clothes off and run around the stage?
I think that would have worked fine. By giving the
you wanted him to get naked and
he could have done better. I know Rand Paul.
I don't know.
He knows what he's talking about. He could have done better.
I blame the CNBC moderators. That's what I do.
People. Listen,
I do because you know what? He doesn't want to look like a schmuck, screaming and yelling like John Kasich
like he did in the first debate.
Yeah, exactly. He was loud. He was screaming. He was jumping all over the place. And this time he's trying to pull himself back and look a little more professional.
Maybe I'll give him a high grade. But listen, I want you as a professor. You gave nobody under a B plus so far. A's, B plus, A.
Well, I mean,
I don't like him. What next is John Kasich.
I'm giving him an F. F, and you can guess what the F stands for. He's a loser. He's a loser. I can't stand. No, you can't. Yeah. I cannot stand John Kasich. Cannot stand him.
I would tell you
he
was
incoherent. He jumped all over the place, and he was just looking for attention. He was like a little pup, like a chihuahua. Jeb was like a big mastiff, didn't move, just sat there. And Rubio looked like the Rottweiler. If you had to compare all of the establishment candidates to dogs.
Well, today's National Cat Day.
All right, meow. What's new, pussycat?
Great. I give Kasich an F because I don't know what the hell he was talking about. He should go home. Huckabee.
I'll give Huckabee a C.
Oh, me too.
Look at that. We have things in agreement. I would give Huckabee a C because when you look at Huckabee, he kept talking about heart disease. He wants to keep Medicare, Social Security. And then what I didn't like about Mike Huckabee, although I loved how he talked about this issue was about morality, about keeping your own money. Stop robbing people of their money. That's true. That's a great point. I'm happy we're talking about that and the Fed and the gold standard and sound money. But, Huckabee then started talking about how I heard other candidates want to rip away seniors' health care. I heard other candidates on the stage that want to rip apart Social Security benefits. And I'm like, what are you talking about, you fool? What about people my generation, the millennials coming up? We don't want this money going to Social Security. I'm getting sick and tired of getting my... Listen to the contradiction of Mike Huckabee. He talks about how the government robs money from the people, and then he goes on to say how we can't get rid of Social Security, the biggest thief, the biggest heist on the American people.
It's a Ponzi scheme.
It's the biggest Ponzi scheme ever. So, I mean, to me, Mike Huckabee made a fool of himself, but I'll give him a C because I like what he said about the issue about taxation. Is it affect theft? But he didn't enunciate that, but he certainly implied it by saying, stop robbing people of their money. It's your money.
And he's funny. So that's a C.
He's funny looking.
I'll give Jeb Bush an F. What about you?
I'm giving Jeff an F.
Great.
He was awful. Absolutely awful. I think he was uncharismatic, and he blew it, Vito. This is really going to hurt him. We'll just see how far he goes down in the polls. Listen up, it's that time of the week again. Forget about it. Moments of the week.
Forget about it?
Forget about it.
Forget about it.
Paul, forget about it.
Yes, forget about it. Moments of the week is that time of the week when we count down some of the craziest moments in our lives, in the world, in politics, etc. Vito, go ahead and break it down for us.
You ready?
Go ahead.
Ready for
What's
this?
the first forget about it moment?
In New Jersey, a cop who got into a fatal crash last March was blaming strippers that they drugged him. You ever blamed strippers before?
No, I never. I love strippers. I never blame them. They work hard for their money.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. And they can do whatever they want to me. I don't care. Just have your way.
You're paying them. Speaking about that,
okay.
According to the Daily Star, drones are being used in Great Britain to film other people having sex.
Nice.
Yes.
Nice. All right. That's pretty creepy. But on the other hand, I'm sort of interested to see where this goes.
Great peeping time. Like get your binoculars and go in a tree and look into other people's windows.
Absolutely.
Now you just have a drone just fly by.
Nice. Thank God. Don't have to get up in the morning and watch you take a shower from the tree. Now I just fly a drone.
Let's not worry about invasion of privacy.
Yeah, no. Well, that's actually a legitimate question. Does this conflict with the Fourth Amendment? Now, obviously,
put some blinds up or something.
Is that a violation of somebody's property rights? This is actually a pretty good question. Let's talk about this here for a second. Is a private drone, if I have a drone fly over your house to look at you doing whoopee in your own home, you like that?
Yep.
You're going at it with your loved one or your loved ones. It's a big orgy, and I'm videotaping the whole thing on my drone. Is that an invasion of privacy? Is that an invasion of property rights? I mean,
Well, if it's through a window,
it's a good question, right? Go ahead.
You didn't break in or anything. If it's through a window, well, you put that window there so you can see out. Obviously, people can see in. So that's why there's blinds and drapes and stuff. So if you decide to start screwing around with 6 to 7 people in the living room, you should maybe put some blinds up, lock the doors, tell your parents have to come home for a couple of minutes. You see, these things are the precautions you take.
A couple of minutes, unbelievable. But what if it's like the heat of the moment and like things are going on? And
you know what? I want a copy of the tape. If you make any money off of it, I better get some. Okay?
I don't know. I would sort of agree. I would say the minute you come onto my property and then you start looking in my window is when you start invading my property.
So if I have a drone flying in the middle of the street, I can zoom in. That's fine.
That's a tough question.
I'm not on your property.
I know, that's a tough
You're like
question.
you're looking across the back window.
That's true. All right, guy, calm down. I don't need a visual. But that's a good question. If a drone, again, I'll restate the question. If a private citizen uses a drone with the camera to film into your home, is that an invasion of property rights? This is a deeply philosophical question that I think needs to be answered.
Well, you're just looking. How you damaging or trespassing or doing anything to somebody's property?
Well, I don't know. I would say no, but at the same time, something deep down inside is saying, yeah, no. I mean, it kind of makes sense. If I'm looking at you in your private home and you're doing something that obviously is private, why the hell? Isn't that like an invasion of privacy? Yeah, but I don't see how an invasion of privacy violates somebody's life, liberty, or property.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't see how that's the case.
You left the opportunity open. It's not like I broke in or did something to see. It's like you're inviting it in. You know?
Might be harassment. Maybe you can get him on a harassment charge.
How are you harassing? You're sitting there watching.
What?
How is that harassment?
I don't know. These libertarian questions are tough.
This is easy.
Because you wanna fly a drone into people's houses and watch them go at it.
I'll keep my windows open when I'm doing these things. I'm a very open person. I don't mind.
You don't
join.
mind. It is.
Come on in.
Unbelievable. What's our last forget about it moment of the week?
According to National Review,
Mm-hmm.
Geneseo College up in New York. That's over here, Vito, where we live.
Is that an all-girl college?
I don't know why.
I like all-girl colleges.
I like all girls.
Come on, you excited little boy.
Great.
You're like a rabbit in heat. Go ahead. What do you got?
Thanks. These colleges are having consultants on campus for Halloween to see if their costumes are politically correct.
Yes, I heard of this. This this is the stupidest thing I've heard all year. This is the stupidest thing I've heard all year. Halloween, people are dressed in a costume, and they're sending the PC police to check on them?
Yeah, to consult them. Like, the students go and ask, is this bunny suit okay?
Oh,
Because I'm going to go get drunk and maybe laid. Okay, it's a Saturday night on a college campus on Halloween. What do you think people dressing up as? Okay, it's role play. For God's sakes. PC police? Really? What do people dress up as? What were you following?
I was a French maid, but this goes to show
politically correct.
I was Caitlyn Jenner, but this goes to show you, ladies and gentlemen, just how ridiculous our culture has come. The PC police is investigating different colleges across the country, specifically in New York, to make sure the Halloween costumes are politically correct. Are you kidding me? They're consultants? Oh, is this color offensive to a specific race of people?
I want that job.
Are you kidding me? What would you have that job, Vito? Let's play a game. Ready? Let's play a game.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you're going to be the PC consultant. You're the political correctness consultant. Okay. And I'm a college student, and I'm going to ask you if my costume for Halloween is politically correct. You ready?
Ready.
All right, so I come up to you. I'm dressed up as a gorilla. Is it politically correct?
No, that's offensive.
Why is it offensive?
To gorillas.
All right, ready? Here's another one. I get dressed up as Barack Obama. Offensive or not offensive?
That's offensive.
Why is it offensive?
Conservatives.
Ready for this one? I come dressed up as Sarah Palin. Who's that offensive to? Is it offensive, first of all? As the PC police, is a Sarah Palin costume, if I'm wearing one, is it offensive?
See, that's subjective, because I don't know if you're coming as Sarah Palin or Lisa Ann.
Yeah. Everyone loves Lisa Ann. She follows our show, by the way, at Vito and Vito Show. Give us a follow on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, at Lisa Ann. Love her. We do. She's actually a really good friend, is she not?
She's great, but don't plug her.
I shouldn't plug her. By the way, she's an adult.
Vito and Vito Show. Follow us.
Oh, man. All right, here's another one. All right, so let's do this again. So, again, just to recap, in colleges across the country, the PC police is out in full force. They are sending political correctness consultants to different colleges across America, and they're there to help consult students on Halloween costumes to determine if they're politically correct or not. How disgusting. How sick is this? Ready? All right, Vito, you're going to be the political correctness consultant, and like I said, I'm going to be one of the students. Now I am dressed as a leprechaun. Is that politically correct, first of all?
Now, that's obviously offensive to the Irish.
Okay. But...
And the drunks.
But
See, now that's offensive. See, what I said might be offensive.
But that's good. You know what sucks? Like, these jokes, these race jokes, they're not meant in malice or whatever. They're meant in good fun.
My best friend's Irish.
Who?
Connor.
Yeah.
He's
Connor O'Callaghan. Yeah, all right.
No, Connor, he's half Irish.
He is. Yes, he is.
Half Italian. That's why I like him.
a lot of this political correctness has gotten so bad that think of, none of these jokes are meant in malice, and none of this is meant in hatred. But think of the comedians in the past, Vito. Think of Don Rickles.
I knew you were going to say him.
He's my favorite comedian.
George Carlin.
Think of George Carlin, Eddie Murphy. Think of Bob Newhart. Think of all of these old Red Fox, Nipsey Russell, Dean Martin, the jokes of Sammy Davis Jr. Think of all Carrot Top. Think of all of these guys back in the day who would make you laugh because they were politically incorrect. Now they wouldn't get a shot to showcase their comedic genius because the liberal political correctness culture has destroyed our civilization in America.
All right, so let's keep with the game. Now you're the consultant.
All right, go
What's
ahead.
your discretion?
All right, go ahead.
I am for Halloween a bunny, but I'm only wearing lingerie and a little cottontail. Okay.
All right. Again, just to recap. I'm the political correctness consultant, and you are dressing up for Halloween. I got to determine if this stuff is politically correct or not. And what'd you say you're dressed up as?
I'm a bunny.
You're a
But
bunny?
I only have a cottontail and lingerie. And just think of me as a 20-year-old
I wouldn't
girl.
consider it politically... I'm not going to consider it politically correct. I'm just going to consider it sick. I mean, who the hell would sell you lingerie and a bunny tail, and only lingerie and a bunny tail?
Capitalism.
Gotta love it. Only this social system could give people the truest freedom.
That's fine. That's not politically correct.
I don't think. What is political correctness? There's no such thing as political correctness. It's a myth. It's a myth. Don't be an ass. Don't be mean. Don't be insulting. But if you want to say a joke about somebody's race based on stereotypes or their gender or religion, knock yourself out and laugh about it.
You can be an ass. Do whatever the hell you want. Dress up as what you want. Dress up as anything.
Of course.
Please.
But this is the liberal subculture now becoming our prime culture, where now you're not allowed to make race jokes. You're not allowed to make any of these things.
Okay, political correctness. You can dress up as a United States soldier and or an American patriot or revolutionary, and that's terrible. That's wrong. But
it's offensive to Native Americans. It's offensive to the British. I would love to see. I'm going to get a liberal on this show, and I'm going to argue with them. I'm going to say, listen up, pal. Do you support the American Revolution? They're obviously going to say yes, or maybe not. But then I'm going to say, all right, if you support the American Revolution, do you support the a kid dressing up as an American patriot for Halloween? 9 out of 10 liberals, or 99% of liberals, are going to say, no, that's offensive to the British. And I'm going to say, you see, boom, you're done. It's over. Go home. I'm finished with you people.
See, that doesn't make sense.
How does it not make sense?
It just doesn't make sense. Why would that be offensive?
It would be offensive.
Like on the college campuses.
Because we shot at British people.
Oh, that's terrible.
And that's what. And then liberals are going to talk about gun control, and they're going to talk about how we need to, melt all the guns in order to make, I don't know,
more Tony Awards. I think that's our time here on the show.
Yes, it is. We're signing off here on the Vito and Vito Show. Check out the website, www.vitoandvito.com, and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Vito and Vito Show.
In Brooklyn,
it's nothing but the truth.
The leader in talk radio on the internet, right here on K98Talk.com.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. And then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-513-6154. That's 1-800-513-6154. Again, 1-800-513-6154. Call now.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it. There to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.